in there. And meetings being live streamed. Boom. And recording. All right. Welcome to this week's edition of the Business Owners Mastermind Call. My name is John Pyron. I am the business doctor and your host. I got my co-host here, Alan Woody Reeves out of Nashville, Tennessee. Alan, say hi.
There we go. Hi, everybody. Sorry about the delay. It's always fun getting cranked up on the Zoom again.
There you go, man. Fantastic. Okay, so today's call, I'm broadcasting from my man cave because I got something on the smoker. Obviously, you see all that smoke coming out of there. So I do a lot of barbecue, and I absolutely love it. So bear with us. We're going to cover some great content today. And one of the things that September 1, August is over, summer's finished, the kids are back in school, and this time, since 2015, I've been doing a special webinar every single September. In fact, this year it's going to be on the second Wednesday of September. Next week's call is going to be replaced with that webinar. So it'll be the same bat channel, same Zoom ID, everything, except it's going to be about an hour to an hour and a half long actual webinar on step-by-step. Kids are back in school. It's time to get refocused on the goals, the objectives that you want to hit by the end of this year. I'm going to go over some key things today in preparation for that call. So if you're on the live call or you're going to listen to the recording, you're going to want to listen to the things I'm talking about today. Start getting prepared ahead of time for next Wednesday's call. And so I've been doing that since 2014 consistently. Every single year when I do that, I get text messages, I get emails, I get posts going. I implemented those strategies. The goals that I was just about to give up on because I haven't looked at them all year, they got refocused and ended up achieving their dreams and their goals. So I want to talk about that today, and then I want to open it up for some live Q&A. So I want to start off with a quick story. So there's a guy named Bill, and he's in a really nice restaurant, and he's like, man, excuse me, I got to go to the restroom. He goes to the restroom. He walks into the men's restroom, and he sees a guy named Fred standing in front of the men's urinal. And he seems to be a little upset because he accidentally dropped a $5 bill inside the urinal. And he's like, should I get it? Should I not get it? You know, he's just very frustrated. So he looks at Bill. He sees Bill, and Bill's like, what are you doing, dude? And so he looks back, Fred, he looks back at Fred, and Fred reaches in his back pocket and he pulls out a $50 bill and he tosses it on purpose inside the urinal. And Bill looks at him and he goes, what are you doing? He goes, well, come on, man. You don't think I'm going to reach my hand in there for $5, do you? And so it's kind of a corny story, but it kind of sets the stage for what I want to talk about today. And that is when the stakes are high enough, when the reasons are high enough, you'll do things that you would not normally do to hit goals, to hit objectives. And so the very first thing I want to talk about is 3 things that you got to do right now to really set yourself up to maximize the next 2.5 months. Now I'm talking September, October, half of November, because you always got that holiday thing that happens around Thanksgiving, and then we got about 2 weeks left, and then everybody goes into the holiday mode. So I want to teach you some strategies today that you can execute on right now to position yourself to maximize, to do things that your competition and the people that you're competing against are not going to do. And so if you take action on what I'm talking about, I can tell you, I can give you hundreds, thousands of clients that I've taught this to since 2015 that have taken what I'm getting ready to tell you, they've executed on it, and they've set themselves up to finish the year strong. But more importantly, they go into January with a tremendous amount of momentum and business. So let's talk about 3 things. Number 1 is the inner game, which has to do with your mindset. Number 2 is the outer game, which has to do with your systems. And finally, you can have the best mindset on the planet. You can have systems that are just rock solid. I mean, you can have your ducks lined up in a nice 1, 2, 3 order But if you can't get your butt to do the third thing, which is taking action, none of it matters. So give me a thumbs up in the chat window if you agree with that. And so I want to talk about mindset first. And one of the mindsets of a champion is that there's always room to grow. How many of you would agree with that statement? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you believe that you have potential inside of you to perform at a higher level than the level you have been performing at?
Oh,
definitely me, for sure. One of the things that the stories that I tell is about the great Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is very well known for his execution, his playing at a higher level, but one of the things that is really untold is his mindset. And one of the things he used to do after every season, and what made him great, because you have to be great to play in the NBA, but to be a superstar, you have to do certain things. And so one of the things he did is after every season, he would go back and watch film, because that's what they had back then, is film and tape, right? It just goes to show you how far we've come. And he would watch hours and hours of tape, and he'd have a notepad. He'd make a list of all the things that he saw in his game that he would like to tweak, that he would like to improve. And he would have this massive list of little things that he saw, dribbling, left hand, right hand, strength. And over a period of time, he would whittle that down to one thing only. And he would hire the mentor, he would hire the coach, he would literally force himself to master that one thing during the off season. So one season it was his left hand. That's all he worked on the entire season was his left hand. Next season it was his strength training. And it was that discipline, it was that focus that made Michael Jordan great. He missed more shots than he actually made. But, he missed many game-winning shots. But because he failed over and over and over again, that's what made him great. So that's good. That's great. Good for Michael Jordan. What about you and I? So what you and I need to do is look at, okay, whether it's the summer or prior to the summer, is look back at this year so far and replay the tapes mentally in your mind of all the actions you've been taking in the area of finance. I'm going to give you a list here. The area of faith, family, fitness, finance, friends, okay, relatives, family, all those different areas that you set goals in. Look at those different areas and ask yourself, okay, where do I want to improve? Get your own list going. What are the things that you can see looking back at your own activity that you would like to improve? And just get a master list. Don't worry about, do I got to do it? Do I not got to do it? Any of that stuff. Just get your list going. And then through a process of elimination, start whittling that down. And if you can find one thing, the one thing that you can focus on in the month of September, maybe it's September and October. Maybe it's September, October, November. What is the one thing that you literally, if you made a change, if you made a tweak, if you made an improvement in that area, would have an impact in every other area of your life? Then what I want you to do is a couple of things. Number one is I want you to find 5 books on that subject. 5 books. It could be audio books, it could be, physical books. Find 5 books on the subject. Go out and find 3 audio or 3 video programs on that subject and commit to watch them. And then find someone, maybe a workshop, a seminar, webinar that you can attend that's focused on that one area. And then if you still need help after that, get a mentor, somebody that's been very successful in that area, and hire their butt. Put some cold, hard cash down on that one area. And if you focus on that one area for the rest of this year, I promise you, between now and December 31st, you're going to be 10 times better than where you're at right now. So that has to do with mindset. Next, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I want you to do. I'm going to give you 5 things that you need to do consistently. I mean, dogmatically, consistently for the rest of the year. And if you do this, I guarantee you, I will give you a $100 bill if you can look me in the eye and say, I did everything you said and it didn't work. Okay. I've never had to pay that because it works. Okay. Number 1, get a solid morning routine. And I'm going to go into intense detail about this next Wednesday. Get a solid morning routine. You're going to do this every single morning to get your mindset set. Okay. Number two, and I want you to recommit to that. Number two is exercise. You need to add some form of exercise to your routine. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's somewhere where you can get your heart rate up, because it creates endorphins in your body that give you more energy. I don't like to work out at all. My wife, who is on this call right now, can totally attest to that, but I'm going to have to force myself to do exactly what I do not want to do because I want the result. Number three, sleep. I didn't realize until last year when I got a CPAP how important sleep is. If you want a good resource on this, 21 Ways to Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson. He's going to give you some great tips on there. I'd like to tell you I do all 21 tips. I'd be lying, but I gained a lot of knowledge out of there and implemented a lot of that stuff. So implement the things that you have. He talks about 5 sleep cycles, an hour and a half each, 7.5 hours sleep. I used to wear, like when I got out of the military, I used to have it as a badge of honor. Man, I can get by on 5 hours of sleep, man. I'm a rock star. I need to work really, really hard. It's not about I would pride myself on 12, 13, 14 hours a day of work when I found out it's total BS when the most successful people get a lot of stuff done in 7 hours versus 14 hours. And a lot of them, I don't care who you talk to, it could be Tony Robbins, it could be Grant Cardone, it could be a lot of different famous people. They'll tell you, if you don't have the sleep, you're not going to allow your body to regenerate and create the energy that you need to perform at a higher level. So really get a handle on your sleep and figure out what that is for you. But you're looking for an ideal sleep cycle of 7.5 hours. Science has proven over and over again, if you don't do that, you will cut 5 to 10 years of your life off by not allowing your body to generate the, get rid of the chemicals in your body and get the energy that you need. But if you want to hit big goals, if you want to hit your goals by the end of the year, you need that sleep. And so diet, start getting rid of the foods that drain your energy. Okay, and I know that a lot of people don't want to talk about, I'm not talking about going on a diet program. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about stop putting the junk in your body that doesn't support you and your goals. Okay, and if you need help with that, there's plenty of health coaches out there. Get one. Last thing, and I saved the best for last. It was me and Grant Perry back in 2012 that came across Grant Cardone, 2013, came across Grant Cardone, and they gave us it's called a 10X planner, okay? So if you go to 10xplanner.com, okay, it lays out this routine, and it says, okay, most people only write their goals once a year. A lot of people don't even write their goals, but most people write them once a year. This program says, okay, I'm going to write my goals in the morning, top 5 goals. I'm going to get up and ask myself a basic question. What do I want? First thing that comes to my mind, I'm going to write it down. Okay? I'm going to write it down as if it already happened. Number 2, I'm going to come up with my quote for today. What's my quote for today? Go online. I used to do this. I used to go online and write out quotes. Now I just write out quotes. What is my quote for the day? Then I want you to go back and look at the 5 goals that you wrote out, and I want you to identify one thing, just one thing, you can do today to move you one step closer to that goal, and you write it out. Number 3, at the end of the day, I want you to write out your successes. What were your positives and your wins and your successes for that day? And right before you go to bed, I want you to rewrite your goals. Ask yourself again, what do I want? Now, when I told this to my client, Steve Rock, is probably the most analytical client I've ever had, he goes, I'm paying you, let me get this straight. I'm paying you all this money per month, and this is the best you got. And I said, yeah. And I said, just trust me. Do it for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, if you don't see a change in your attitude and clarity, you can quit and you can fire me, and I'll give you a complete refund. So here we are 2 weeks later, and he comes back to me and he says, you know what? I doubted you on this, but I am more clear on where I want to go now than I ever have been. And it gave him that extra energy boost. So let me, again, I'm not going to take anything away from Grant Cardone, because I'm telling you, go to 10xplanner.com. But right there, okay, write all the goals, all the different steps I just talked about are right there. And I promise you, if you do that, just be consistent with it for 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks. 2 weeks, okay? Be consistent with it for 2 weeks. If it doesn't change your life, then you can stop doing it, okay? You can stop doing it. But I already know what's going to happen because I just gave this to a client of mine a month ago, and they gave me the same report that Strate gave me. So what I've done is I kind of took half of June, all of July and August, and I just kind of got lazy. I just kind of maintained what I had. But now, September 1, this is the time of the year, every year I recommit to everything. So I'm going to become dogmatically consistent at it, and I want you to do the same. It'll change your life. All right, we're coming on the home stretch, and I want to open it up for Q&A. Business. There's some things that you need to do in business. I want you to go back into the archives of the videos that we've been doing on Wednesday. I want you to look up Powerbase. Okay, I want you to execute on Powerbase. It's time to pick up this phone and reach out to your Powerbase. It could be friends, relatives, past employees, existing employees, clients, past clients. They're all in your Powerbase. They're going to fall in two areas. Number one, they're going to either be a potential client for you, or number two, they're going to feed you referrals to potential clients for you. If you commit, okay, I'm going to commit, and I'll report on this next week. 5 Powerbase calls a day. It's all you need to do. It could be a text message. It could be a social media direct message. It could be a phone call. But you're going to reach out to 5 people in your Powerbase every single day, and I want you to go back and look up the call. You can follow step by step the scripts that I've laid out in there. If you can't find it, send me a text message, 916-741-0596. 916-741-0596, and I will send you the link to the recording. Follow that. That'll blow up your business. Next is I want you to do what's called a survey to success, and I will send that to you as well. It's time to go back, reevaluate every single client you have. I want you to look at your clients, and I want you to follow that script. I lay it out in a complete script, survey to success, and I want you to survey them. I want you to ask them, the number one question I want you to ask them is, if you were in a position to refer me to a friend or colleague, would you refer me? The answer is going to be yes or no. If they're a great client, they're going to say yes. And then the rest of the script, just follow it. And you're going to get some referrals out of that. Lastly is I want you to commit to 30 minutes of training, whether it's being in, a video, a book, an audio program, something that's going to help you improve your skill set. 30 minutes a day. It's all you got to commit to. It's 24 hours in the day. So you got another 23 and a half hours to do whatever else you want. But if you don't feed your mind here, you're not going to get the skill set that you need. Okay? 30 minutes a day is all it takes to create exponential growth within you. The number one investment that you can make right now is in you. Okay? Not in real estate, not in all this other stuff, in you. The last thing, referral systems. Okay? Go onto my YouTube channel. Go on. I mean, there's so much information. So many times I've taught referral systems out there. Execute on that. If you need any help with that, I want you to go to johnpyron.com, johnpyron.com, click on book appointment, schedule a 10 to 15-minute call with me, and I will guide you through that process. I will help you out. Alan Reeves has been a client of mine here for 5.5 years, okay? And to give you an idea what that means is I require a client to commit to 90 days. After that, it is month to month. I can fire Alan, and Alan can fire me, okay? But we've been together for 5.5 years. Every single thing I'm talking about today, Alan has been taught over the years, and he has executed. And Mouse Calls is at a point right now, okay? If you ever need a technology company, if you're a solo entrepreneur, 5 employees, 10 employees, 25, 50 employees, right? And you are constantly having computer problems, that's a problem. It's very simple. Go to mousecallsonline.com and schedule an appointment. The one thing that he has done consistently over the years is create computers and networks that don't have problems, okay? When you have problems as a business owner, your people aren't productive, and it costs you money. And so Alan and I have been working together for 5.5 years, and he has a rock solid company that's going to celebrate 25 years this coming year that will help you out. If your computer's broken, you can have all these stuff that I'm talking about, but if you can't do business on a computer network, you're screwed. Okay? And his team of experts can help you out. Allison Pyron here, Operation Delegate, just started that business. And I'm going to tell you right now, how many times, and a lot of you are business owners that are listening to this recording, how many times have you said to yourself, man, if I just had another me, if I just had another me, man, if I had 2 more people just like me, all these employees, they can't do anywhere near what I do. How many of you have had that question? Yeah. And so Operation Delegate, we're going to get that website launched soon. But in the meantime, okay, just send me a direct message or an email. I'll get you connected. They have a good, rock solid virtual assistant, good, rock solid on-site support, etc. Chrissy Goodwin here, probably the most. You've been an operations person for, 15, 20 years, right? So virtual COO, right? Somebody that can run the operations of the business. And we're in a Zoom environment now. We're in a remote environment. People don't have to go back to the office, right? So if your operations manager doesn't have processes and systems in place that allow you, the business owner, to go away for 2 or 3 weeks and not worry about it, your operation manager has a problem. I'm just going to be honest with you. And you should get a hold of Chrissy. And again, we'll give you her information as well. But she will be able to make that where those things are systematized and everything. So I hope this has been valuable information. Next Wednesday, show up at 1:30. We're going to send out a special email, special blast. It'll be probably an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. Who knows? And we're going to go way deep into all this stuff to set you up for success for the rest of this year. So with that said, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I got my 3 other experts here. Anything, Alan, that you would like to say to add to what I've already said, or anything that you would like to encourage people to do in preparation for next Wednesday?
You know, I loved you talking about Michael Jordan. And you're right. You're right in all the methodologies. There was an element to Jordan, though, that you've got to have the right mind to replicate it. So a lot of what you were talking about, John, was discipline, right? Basically, a minute ago, taking 2 weeks and writing out the goals on a daily basis and seeing what difference that makes, in your mindset. People can become habitual. You can get up in the morning, you can work out, you can do these things, and you've made a positive difference. The thing about Jordan that jumps out at me that I still remember because I'm old was the playoff game where he had the flu and 103-degree fever and played the whole thing. Why? Because his team needed him to. Because he knew that they would not perform as well as an organization without him, even in an incapacitated state. And he made a magnificent difference. I look at Brett Favre, who almost 20 years ago came out on Monday Night Football the day after his father died and played the game of his life. And he did that because he knew his team needed him. And maybe there's a bit of an ego thing there. I think any business owner has to have an element of that. They want to prove something to themselves as well as others. That's part of it. But also, when your organization needs you or if they need to know that they're going to cross a certain threshold or a certain goal or a certain finish line, if you are part of that, if you make yourself part of that in the best capacity that you can to assist in that, make sure that they know, yes, you are the person in charge, but you know what? You're also down there with them. You're not up on a hill with your spyglass seeing who's doing the best job at guiding the troops. Yeah, there's elements of that. At the end of the day, you are certainly in charge, but you're also down there with them. You might be with the foot soldiers, you might be with the officers, but you're there and they know you're a part of it. And that does so much for your team. And it also shows a certain mindset. Your own accountability, your own discipline, your own dedication to the mission. You know, Michael Jordan could have sat out that game and gotten an IV, taken aspirin, gotten himself better for the next go round, and nobody would have blinked, but he didn't. And they dominated. They went on to dominate.
Yeah. Remember, his dad was murdered, and he played the game. That, I think it was like the same day or the day after, and it was, my God, but it's just a mindset. It's a commitment. It's like, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And I mean, it's incredible. So, Allie, do you got any feedback? You're muted.
No, I mean, I think the structure is good. Keeping that consistency is good. I think the biggest thing is to not get down on you if everything doesn't go perfect right off the bat. To know that things, you're gonna have hiccups. You're not gonna always, stay with this routine and to not get down on yourself because of it. It takes time. It's going to take that consistency, but to know that you're going to have those bumps, you're going to have things in your way that's going to happen. And it's all about how you see those, road hazards that come your way and how you deal with it. Yeah. So just because you get started on this routine, just because you have the structure, you do all these things, just know that it's going to take time to develop that consistency. And so to not expect so much right out of the gate from yourself, because it's just naturally who we are. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing that I can, just in what you said, is to know, to not put so much pressure on yourself and so much stress on yourself that if you do have a hiccup, it's okay. And then you just start right back over where you're at. So that's the biggest thing that I pull from it.
Great feedback. Chrissy.
Yeah, just to piggyback off Allison, I work with a lot of student athletes, and they're still learning, they're still developing, parts of their game. And it's like I tell them, it takes 30 days to break a habit, but you have to commit to it. As long as people commit to breaking those habits and forming new ones, they'll succeed no matter what it is, whether it's personal or business or, with church or anything. But they have to just commit. I mean, that's it. If you commit, and then you have to hold yourself to it also.
Yeah. Great point. So what I would tell all of you that are listening to the recording or watching the recording is show up. Woody Allen once said 80% of life is just showing up. And it's true. 80% of life is just committing to show up. Showing up every day for you. Showing up every day for your goals. That's one of the reasons writing down your goals every day is so important. Is if you're writing down your goals, most people only write them down once a year. But if you commit to doing this, you're going to write out your goals over 700 times. Who's going to win? You or your competitor? It's going to be you. But more importantly, if you're writing down your goals and they're not motivating you to take action, that's why the fourth part of this is writing down your successes. If you get to the end of your day and you're not able to write down successes, maybe you got the wrong goals. I can't tell you how many people I've taken on, and I did this way early on in my 20s and even into my 30s. It's like I would set goals that I thought would impress others, maybe please relatives. I don't know, but they weren't my goals. I wanted, I came from a very poor home. I just wanted to be able to make ends meet. That was my goal, but it seemed like that was such a petty goal. And so I'd write down these big, massive goals when I can't even, make ends meet. It's like, what would motivate me is hitting that goal of just being able to not have to worry about money. I was talking to somebody, my client, Nitsa Medina. She's been with me, like Alan Reeves, and she became my client December 22nd, 2015. Alan, December 29th, 2015. For whatever reason, God gifted me with this memory of dates thing. And we were talking about this yesterday. Now, she's a project manager. She's a highly analytical person, but she went to this major conference in Chicago last week. And her new passion and her new goal is she is the number one expert in iManage deployment of that software for legal firms. She's actually the trainer. She created all the training curriculum for iManage. And she walked into the event feeling like a little micro person. Like, it was like all the who's who in the attorney industry. And she got a new goal and a new dream. And that is she wants to be able to walk into the conference and be a big deal. Like, they want to, Nitsa is a very, it rhymes with pizza. Okay. She'll tell you that. Right. But and I never thought I'd hear this come out of her mouth, but she goes, I would love to walk into that conference next year or the year after, and people come up to me and go, oh my God, I saw your YouTube video. Oh my God, I've been following you. She wants to be the big deal in that space because she is in that space, right? She is a big deal in that space. And I just told her, I'm like, if that is what's going to motivate you, then you need to write that down every day. I don't care if it impresses somebody else, if it motivates somebody else, if somebody else says, you're on track when somebody else says, oh my God, you don't want to do that. Oh my God, you're egotistical. Oh my God, you're self-centered. Who gives a rip what anybody else thinks? If it motivates you, that's what matters. Like Jim Floor told me back in 1991, he said, as he was teaching on stage about goal setting, he said, it doesn't matter if it motivates your wife, your family, your friends, your relatives. If it doesn't motivate you, you're wasting your time. And what motivated him at the time is he wanted this certain Mercedes-Benz and that he never got. And he's like, you know what? If that motivates you to take action, who gives a rip what anybody else thinks? If it motivates you, it motivates you. So figure out what that is if it motivates you, and get clarity around that. That's why you want to write your goals every day for the next 2 weeks, because you're going to get clarity around where you want to go. Like when I started this exercise September years ago, literally I was like, all my goals I was writing down had to do with money, finance, all this stuff. And I was like, man, that's really self-centered, and it was. And well, in my opinion, but I was fired up. But what happened very interesting was, I think it was about 3 weeks into the process, I started having goals that were not really money driven. They were impact driven. Like, it wasn't all about me anymore. It was about the impact I can have on other people's lives. That's just me, right? So you got to find what motivates you. And if you're writing your goals on a consistent basis, and you find yourself, so when Roger Sitzler told me this one time, he goes, when your dreams and goals hold a greater priority in your life than the obstacles that come your way, only then will you overcome your obstacles and reach your dreams and goals. So when your dreams and goals hold a greater priority in your life than the obstacles that come your way, only then will you overcome your obstacles to reach your dreams and goals. And getting clarity around what your dreams and goals are is the key. And so if you do this exercise, I promise you'll get clarity around what's going to motivate you and what wakes you up. And if it's not moving you to action, if you're like, I can't wait to wake up, I don't want to go to bed, John said I had to have this 7.5-hour sleep cycle, but I know I could do more. You want to get yourself to the point where that's kind of like the debate you're having in your head. It's like, man, there's not enough hours in the day to hit my goal. If you're not at that level, I'm out. Get recentered, refocused on what you want. And when it motivates you, you will overcome your obstacles. You'll figure out the how-to. If you want a really good resource on this, look up Simon Sinek, the YouTube video, the TED Talk he did on the talk called Why. Okay? And I'm going to end with that because that right there is the most important thing, is understanding your why. What's important to you? What is going to motivate you? The amount of people's lives that you're going to have impact on when you get clarity around you, your gifts, your talents, the legacy that you are going to leave, it's going to be great. There are people's lives out there that you're going to impact. I'll never impact. Nobody on this call will ever impact. Only you can impact. And it's by you embracing your unique you, getting clarity around that, and putting action towards it and being consistent about it. And writing out the successes, all that does is validate in your subconscious mind that you can count on you. You're building your confidence account. And a lot of us walk around with little confidence because we don't take the time to celebrate the wins that we have. So I want to encourage you, show up next week, okay? Bring some guests. Share it out on your networks, okay? It's going to be a rock-solid webinar. We're going to cover a lot of stuff, and we're going to set you up for success for the rest of the year. So with that said, the people that are on live call, thanks for being here. And put your comments in the chat window. Share this out to your network. And join us live next Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. And bring a notepad, okay? I'm going to share so much content. It's incredible. Alan's going to talk about technology. Allison's going to talk about how you can set yourself up for remote, getting the support that you need. And we're going to have a rock-solid team next week and give you the tools that you need to hit your goals for the rest of the year. So go out and make it happen, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye, everybody.